Happy Friday. How we doing? Irish Rover. Thanks for being in here. You guys, it's a beautiful day in Colorado. Oh my goodness, it's nice and warm, but 2 nights ago it was like 15 degrees. What's happening, Papa Chuck? How's it going? So I'm in the parking garage at the Englewood Municipal Center. I think I'm going to have service issues. I think we're going to buffer, but we're going to give it a whirl. So I'm just filming a documentary right now. How are we doing on the stream? Garage life. Yes, we're in garage life. Let me give you a little bit of history about this property real quick. So this used to be Cinderella City. For those of you natives or been in Colorado for a long time, you knew that Cinderella City Mall was it. I mean, that was the place, okay? Well, what did we do? Well, we tore that down and built a government compound on that property. And we said, we just need more government, less things for the people. So more government is a good thing. So let's tear that down and build this big municipal center. And then, we'll do more things for the people by introducing more government with a light rail station and all this stuff, for public transportation. So you see the big bridge over there? So stream is good, right? Okay, so then there's this 2-level parking garage here. So there's the ramp for the top of to get to the top of this garage. And most of the time it's empty, okay? This is the fullest you will ever see this garage. And the other half of this basement, city vehicles park on. And then upstairs, it's pretty much empty. And then you'll see these signs. So this is a taxpayer-supported garage, okay? And here's the signage. RTD parking allowed. Long-term parking. Not sure what that means. Okay? Emergency vehicle parking. But then all the other signs in here are 2-hour parking signs. So I don't know right off the top of my head, without doing some records requests, how much of this garage that maybe RTD owns. I'm guessing not down here on this level. So it just says RTD parking allowed and long-term parking right here, okay? I often check out areas like this because these are some of the best structures where you could potentially have some safe outdoor spaces. And I've always thought that if Englewood really, if they really wanted to get the homeless folks off the street and give them a safe space, they would want to provide an area for that. Well, there's no better place than a government compound for that, right? And so, but instead of doing that, they're just dropping millions into Tri-Cities homelessness and pretending like they're doing stuff for the homeless while they continue to criminalize the shit out of them. As we know, we're not going to go too deep in the woods on that because I want to try to stick to this. So the entrance to the library is right over there. Okay. Now remember, less desirable people are not allowed to exist in Englewood. It's about cronyism. It's about doing whatever we got to do to make the children feel good, and city council members. So on to that. So this wall, check this out. It's empty back here. Now remember, people aren't allowed to exist. Englewood is constantly threatening homeless that are trying to survive in their vehicles or campers. They're constantly trying to tow their stuff or successfully doing it. But here in their parking garage, where all those other signs say 4-hour by permit, all those signs are over there, past these pillars right here. this lane doesn't have any 4-hour signs. So I'm thinking to myself, boy, this sure would be nice shelter in severe weather when these cops are chasing these folks all over the place, right? Yeah, of course, we'd have to keep it safe. We can't have fires. We can't do all those kinds of things. Yeah, we get all that, right? So we're in public space here. Well, so I started, paying attention to this months ago, and I noticed that there's always a group of vehicles parked here, mainly Subarus. So I started to pay attention, and it turns out that these vehicles never move. And so I wrote to City Council, and I said to them, these are abandoned vehicles. They need to be removed. Well, that was a little over a week ago. Now, what I wouldn't want you to do is call code enforcement for the city of Englewood and report what's going on here, because it seems as though I've asked nicely. Remember, Regan, you go to city council and you're not very nice. You don't ever do anything nice to get people to do things the right way or to get government to work. Okay? So, which is not true. So I asked nicely one time, and I was ignored. And I said that these vehicles needed to be removed immediately because they have been long-term abandoned in here. Well, I come back a few days later, and I see that these two vehicles, these weren't here, but the previous two vehicles that were are gone. And this one's left. So this one's been here for months, as far as I can recall in my memory. So I come back today, and now there's 2 new vehicles being stored here. It's quite clear that some favors are being shown to these people, and I don't care if RTD owns this or not. RTD is just as bad. You cannot use their property to exist in public. Well, you sure as hell can't use their property for free long-term parking now, can you? So this, I'm quite certain, is an Englewood issue. And so I got out of the car today and I noticed this. Look at the signage in these cars. Oh yeah, they have dealer plates. So somebody on city council is doing this person a favor, I suspect, and telling them, yeah, you can go ahead and store your cars here. Property of Spun Bearing Garage, LLC, operating out of the Guild. Business owner, B. Reister, R-I-E-S-T-E-R. Phone number 303-569-7143. Dealer plates. So somebody's running a business out of the taxpayer-supported parking garage in the same city that people aren't allowed to exist. So I wouldn't say that anybody should call code enforcement, and I would say that nobody should call R. Reister. But just in case you don't know the phone number of code enforcement in Englewood, and you don't want to call, the phone number is 303-762-2335. For the phone number that you wouldn't want to call. How is it that people can't exist in this city, nor anything that they dare try to survive in, but they get free storage and the ability to run a business out of a taxpayer-supported parking garage? And I asked City Council and the city manager very nicely to remove these vehicles. Nobody replied. Nobody told me that they have a financial arrangement and somebody's getting lunch money every week by allowing this to go on in Englewood's parking garage. So therefore, I said in that email, if abandoned vehicles are allowed to exist in Englewood, so are people simply trying to survive, aren't they? Isn't this a lovely spot? Secure from the elements? That is the question, DJ. Who is collecting the lunch money? I'm surprised they don't get stolen, is what I'm saying. So, yeah, our stolen car rate is the highest in the country. And most of it's happening in structures like this and out at the parking lot, or out at the airport, out at DIA. So yeah, I'm shocked that these Subarus and this Jeep haven't been stolen. Sitting here for months. Isn't that interesting? So yeah, I would suggest that you not call Englewood Code Enforcement and ask for a response. And I think there might be a link for code enforcement. That number that you don't want to call for code enforcement is 303-762-2335. And if you should dare think that you're going to redress the city manager here in Englewood, Sean Lewis, I would suggest you not do that either. So yeah, I'm not too certain here that code enforcement is doing their job. So I would tell you not to call code enforcement. So at any rate, I just wanted to, yeah, DJ, I'm not going to have time to do any records requests on this deal. City council and the city manager had time to respond, and they didn't. So I asked nicely. I'm not unreasonable, but I'm only going to ask once. And the truth is, Englewood doesn't give a shit. The city council doesn't give a shit about what's going on. They have, the serious, deepest problems in their police department. We talked about it yesterday. You saw it on video. Not yesterday, day before yesterday. Oh, and I don't have a warrant, obviously. So, well, yet. We'll see how that goes. I went to court in Denver this morning for the O'Neill crime scene tape tearing down deal that he claims happened a year ago, this past April. Remember when O'Neill threw me in jail twice? Yeah, well, the city doesn't quite know how they're going to prosecute this case because they don't have any evidence. So, yeah, that got put on the record today. So they're going to continue to try to collect some evidence. Shit you not. I shit you not. They got another continuance, and they're gonna work on collecting some video evidence that they just didn't have any access to in discovery, because it's not there. So again, just verifying all this government corruption over and over and over and over. Throwing me in jail is a sport over in Denver, and it's probably going to become a sport over here in Englewood as well. So, yeah, back in the old days, we didn't need evidence, Snarky. Yeah, we still don't. We still don't need evidence to keep throwing people in jail. I asked Denver nicely once, quit throwing me in jail. And they decided not to listen to me. So now they're also being sued for previous times that they silenced my speech. So I'm not going to provide a lot of updates on those lawsuits other than they're going nicely. And it turns out Denver's out of money. Denver has a migrant crisis and they're out of money. So, yeah, those lawsuits. It turns out there's a lot of other lawsuits that Denver is out of money for, if you will. It's a very
interesting time and dynamic in Denver, Colorado. Let me tell you what. Let me tell you what. And it's just going to get worse. The police are the terrorists. They will do what government tells them they will do. They're idols in government. And so, yeah, things are just gonna continue to unravel very interestingly. Yeah, but I'll be back in court sometime in April. I have another hearing on Monday for the other arrest, where O'Neill arrested me for recording in the lobby at District 3. We have a motions hearing on that, I think, yeah, sometime next week. You can go check the dockets, do all that if you want. And then that's going to go to trial, I think, the following week. I don't know. I just show up to court, and so I don't have a warrant. And, it's all about justice. It's about justice, not just us. It's about justice. So over here in Englewood, you cannot survive if you are a living human being. You are to GTFO on out of here. But if you need to run a business out of a parking garage that's supported by taxpayers, you're free to do that. You can do that anytime you want. Just handshake, throw them a 50 for lunch, and everything's good. Everything's good. So that's today's update. I'm not going to tell anybody where my whereabouts for the rest of the day, in case Englewood wants to pull a pocket warrant. Right now, I don't have a warrant in Arapahoe County. Oh, I forgot to tell you about last night. Let me tell you real quick about last night. So I've got to know a few of the homeless over in this area that are even deeper south into Littleton PD. Everybody remembers Littleton PD that's been following me for a while. 2 cops try to arrest me in King Soopers. Detain me, and then they want to arrest me for burglary in King Soopers because somebody in Planet Fitness got their shit ripped off because they didn't lock their locker, and a thief followed them in the building, stole her shit, and left before I even got there. And Planet Fitness gave the cops all of my personal information from their video and said, yep, this is who you're looking for. Not from their video. They didn't check the video. They gave the cops all my personal information from their system. And I just happened to go next door and do some grocery shopping, and apparently the cops were over there looking for me. And they ran into me, and they wanted to detain me. They weren't sure why initially they wanted to detain me. Said that I needed to hang on. We're figuring it out. All on video. This is I don't know how old that is, 2-3 years ago, something like that. And so ultimately, so Littleton invites me into their life, and then Littleton does some stupid shit here and there, but overall, I really typically don't hear that there's a lot of harassment of the homeless over in Littleton. They navigate. They just want to be left alone. They pretty much move along and move on. But we got a vulnerable woman out here. She's vulnerable, okay? And she's called me crying numerous times. I don't know what to do. These Englewood cops and now the Littleton cops. And then I said, you stand up for yourself. You're not doing anything illegal by existing in public. I want you to record those police. I want you to get their names. So she does that last night at about 9:30 over in Littleton. They're harassing the shit out of her. Her and another guy. Well, the guy tells the girl, you know what? You're trouble. I'm out of here. And leaves her. Yeah. So that is a loose structure in the hierarchy and dynamics of homeless camps, if you will. Okay? Women will comply, or you will be ousted. She called me in a complete panic. So, ultimately, She wasn't doing anything illegal. She was existing in public within the regulation hours allowed to do so by the government. But I put her in a motel last night because she was not safe. So now we're going to have to ask Littleton to refund me that money of putting her in a motel because they took her situation from bad to worse, made her unsafe, tried to violate her rights and tell her she could not exist in public. So yeah, that happened in Littleton last night. But it was kind of comical that when I showed up, I found the cops right away, sitting in their car, waiting to go back and harass the shit out of her, as they left her over there by herself in tears and in crisis. Yeah. So, Katie Kidman, thanks for being in here, lady. I got to get to California and just come spend a little bit of time with you. You are, you are pretty cool, lady. Looking forward to it someday. It's going to happen. So, yeah, Littleton, that was a bad move. So, she's safe for a couple nights in a motel, but of course, I'm not continuing to do this direct street outreach, as I said. But there are times where you got to respond, and I just had to respond. So, yeah, that's that. And be watching for some more court hearings out of Judge Jefferson's courtroom that I'm going to publish. Some very riveting, very sad, very... What the hell did I just watch? What the fuck is wrong with these cops? Why do we keep doing this? Yeah, that kind of stuff, right? So I'm going to start publishing some more of that. Englewood City Council meets on Monday. So you should see some activity there. And once again, I would tell you, if you just watched this video and you saw that this was happening in this parking garage, I would ask that you not call the Englewood. You could not call the Englewood non-emergency number as well and ask to speak and not ask to speak with a code enforcement officer. Or you could not call the code enforcement number itself, 303-762-2335, and ask them why they're allowing abandoned vehicles to exist on the west wall of the lower level parking garage at the municipal center, in case you don't want to do that. And yeah, I don't know what the non-emergency number is off the top of my head for Englewood Dispatch non-emergency line that you probably wouldn't want to call either to actually try to speak to somebody. I've already tried. And they're ignoring me, right? And what else am I supposed to do? I redressed government. I said, you got a problem? Get out here and fix it. These are abandoned vehicles. And they ignored me. So, I don't know what to say. But this is an injustice to people just trying to survive, yet being brutalized and fucking tortured by the Englewood PD, when they could just put a couple tiny homes right here and have a place for them to go. And that, my friends, is today's hypocrisy story from Englewood, Colorado. Don't do anything I wouldn't do.